complaints handling procedure regulations, and model bylaws. So some of these proposals are clarificatory, some has deleted unnecessary provisions, and some are some major proposals as well. This session is expected to focus on these proposed amendments, and my role as the moderator today is to facilitate the discussion on the topic and collate all the views of the respective participants, so that together we can provide some fruitful thoughts to the IBBI to be incorporated in the proposals. So let us start today's discussion with I like to start with CRP proposal first. So let me just open the CRP provisions which are currently there for the proposal. We can directly move into as well. Just allow me a second. Or Arshna, if you can please share the screen once, that will be helpful. Yes. Show me once. Just allow me a second. Allow me to share the screen once. Open this discussion paper. Please let me know if the screen is visible to all.
Yeah.
It's visible now? Okay. So the first proposal which has been given by the committee in CIRP provision, Arjuna, please scroll down to the main proposal. So the first proposal in CIRP regulation is with respect to regulation 38, which is about mandatory content of resolution plan. Currently, the mandatory content of resolution plan provides that resolution plan should also provide for who all should be the part of the monitoring committee. But now a detailed provision has now been provided. It is proposed to provide a detailed plan, the plan which will provide for the constitution of monitoring committee as to how will be the constitution, what will be the composition, what will be the function of the committee. So now it says that the monitoring committee shall function till the completion of implementation of the resolution plan, provided that committee may, for a reason to be recorded in writing, decide for the monitoring committee if the resolution plan provides for substantial implementation during such tenure. Simultaneously, this committee's function, this committee's constitution is also provided therein. It says that this committee will be led by resolution professional, and there will be equal participation from committee of creditors as well as the SRA, the successful resolution applicant. So there will be equal participation from both the sides, and exclusion and inclusion in this committee that may be decided by the members. Second, it says that the monitoring committee shall monitor and supervise the implementation of the plan, distribution of the proceeds, whether the same is in accordance with the plan or not, transfer of the assets and control of the corporate data to the successful applicant, whether the same is again in accordance with the resolution plan or not, and compliance of all the statutory requirements during implementation of the resolution plan by the successful resolution applicant. So these are the further compliances, or we can say a detailed compliances, which is now provided in the provision. It also says that the monitoring committee, while this will be led by the chairperson is also required to submit a quarterly report to the adjudicating authority till the time this implementation process is getting completed. It also says that the monitoring committee shall seek appropriate directions from the adjudicating authority where implementation is not in accordance with the plan or the terms and conditions of the plan. and the SRA shall bear the expenses of the monitoring committee. So there are 2-3 factors which are currently provided therein. First, basically, is about the composition of the committee as to who all will be the part of the committee. Second is as to what exactly the committee will do. Third is whether in case of decision making process, or in case there is any non-compliance, in case there is any kind of deferment from the what is mentioned in the resolution plan, then how the decision will be taken by the respective monitoring committee. So that part is also there. And again, the most important thing is about expenses to be borne by, as to who will bear the expenses that will be incurred by the monitoring committee during this implementation process. And of course, as in insolvency professionals, the insolvency professionals always have concern about their fees as well. So it also provides that regarding the fees of the respective professional as well, that particular fees will be similar to the fees that the RP is getting otherwise during the CRP process. So that fees will be paid till this implementation part as well, till this implementation program will go on. So that since RP will continue as RP till that time, so that fees will be paid to the RP. Now, there are several concerns because it's a major change which is provided herein. So there are several concerns that may arise at this point of time. Like, of course, monitoring the smooth implementation of the plan is one of the very important requirement. However, if the participation of COC members and SRA is in equal proportion, then how will the decision be made in such cases? Means, say suppose if there is anything which is to be decided, everything you cannot go to adjudicating authority. Say suppose the for payment, the timeline was mentioned in the plan as 15 days, but the SRA is proposing not to or asking for 2-3 days more. So whether for this 2-3 days more, whether you will go to the adjudicating authority directly, or you can decide as per mutual discussion between the committee members only. And given that there will be an equal proportion of SRA and equal proportion of committee of creditors member, whether any veto power or any extra power will be given to the chairperson to decide on this matter. So I would like to invite thoughts of the participants herein as to what they think about this constitution first, and later on we'll go to the function and other proposal that has been provided there. Please. Whether any member have any thought regarding the constitution of
I think
committee?
this is Anupam Tiwari, CMA IB from Kanpur. Since all the jurisdiction regarding the approval of the plan goes to COC, okay. So here also I will suggest that the COC have the driving seat.
During the implementation, you are saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Any particular reason to say so, sir? Because now the SRA will also be enrolled. So why you are saying that only COC will be there and not SRA?
Because the beneficiary, the main beneficiary are the COC members and other stakeholders, and all the wisdom is decided and lies with the COC.
Because once the
Before,
resolution plan is
before,
approved, sir, now
before,
the interest of SRA is also involved therein. Once the resolution plan is approved, the interest of SRN is also involved. So why?
definitely, but since the SRA have to pay the decided amount or the committed amount, okay. So for that he can make any delay. So that delay cannot be allowed.
Which is fine, sir. I'm at this point of time, I'm inviting comments on the constitution part first as to what should be the ideal constitution of this monitoring committee. Currently, it has been proposed that there should be equal proportion of members from COC and SRA in the monitoring committee, and this committee will led by the resolution professional. So first, we are discussing regarding the constitution as to whether the constitution which is currently proposed is fine, or we suggest any particular changes therein. Yes, Mr. Rajesh Shah, you want to say something? You may please unmute yourself and say.
Yeah, actually, see, whatever we are talking, frankly speaking, as far as monitoring committee is concerned, technically there is role is very limited. For example, when we are talking of as far as money part is concerned, yes, it is COC. But otherwise, as far as implementation is concerned or doing business is concerned, COC should not have any major role in it. So it's like two different things are there. COC members are concerned about their money, and whereas the person has to run the business. So this constitution, basically the role of monitoring committee itself has to be thought of. Because it can't be like everything has to be run through monitoring committee. And see, frankly speaking, if at all the person, as far as plan is concerned, it is final. Money has to come at that date, otherwise it is failed. So that discussion can't be with only COC members. That's my call or my take on it. So as far as money is concerned, it should be stick to the resolution plan, which is final. Other things can be discussed.
And again, since the format now, the proposal now is to submit the progress report by the RP. The chairperson of this committee will be RP, and RP is now required to submit progress report to the adjudicating authority. Of course, giving details of the implementation or the status of implementation of the plan. So again, the concern here arises as to whether this progress report is to be filed by way of any application like we file in case of liquidation process, or this progress report will be simply the record of procedure or record of what has happened during the implementation process, whether any particular application is required to be filed for this progress report as well. That clarification is also required. So if at all there is any thought on that, may please let me.
See, frankly, the way we have discussed right now, the point is, in fact, I am facing this problem. I am in a monitoring committee. Okay, I am heading that so-called. But the point is, SRA has not made the payment, and COC is not ready to make an application for liquidation. Now, in that case, who is going to decide it? Means, for example, if as a chairman, if at all I am telling that let it go for liquidation, again that will be an issue. So practically, plan sanction should be sacrosanct, and after that, automatically means there should be authority to be given to, say, monitoring committee, or that if at all it is not fulfilled, go for liquidation straight away. Because if you give discretion, then it's never going to end, which is happening even today.
But we all have seen, those who have seen this CRP process or have acted as RP, they all know that during implementation as well, the SRA seeks for certain timeline, certain extension of the timeline, or certain kind of favor in their with respect to the implementation of plan. Now the proposal says that if there is any kind of deferment from the plan or anything which is not in line with what is provided in the plan, then you have to go to adjudicating authority. That means, again, the bundle of application to be filed with adjudicating authority. So on one hand, we are saying that we have to reduce the burden of NCLT. On the other hand, we are again kind of increasing the burden of NCLT by making this every question or every concerns to be addressed by adjudicating authority. On other hand, we are like to increase the burden of adjudicating authority. That is particularly my thought on this matter. Now, I'd like to invite thoughts of participants herein as to what they think about this proposal that has been made by IBBI.
Ma'am, can I come in?
Okay. Can I come
Yes,
in,
ma'am.
please? I've been. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, please.
See, this is ideal for the SRA. In fact, in a resolution plan given, when the question was asked as to who's responsible for implementation, he said RP because he led the monitoring committee. Okay. And then I had to clarify, look, I'm more like an umpire. Okay, you will have to implement. It's you and your board who has to implement. And you have to be present in the SRA. I mean, in the monitoring committee. Now, at least they are putting that over there. But sadly, again, what I see is everything has been put on the RP again. You know, because the person on the front foot should be the SRA. I would go so far as to say even these reports he should make, and the RP should be able to give a dissenting or that type of a thing over here, because there's not much the RP can do in this other than to point out deviations and other things. I don't know. I'm just throwing something open because SRAs will be very, very comfortable pushing the RP.
Concern is also that, sir, just intervening herein, that what if the RP do not wish to continue during the implementation process? So if the RP has completed the process till approval of resolution plan, but RP does not wish to continue during the implementation process. So nothing has been provided as of now in the proposal as to whether the RP can withdraw themselves from acting as a ultimate umpire of the monitoring committee, whether that withdrawal process is not yet provided in the discussion paper. So no discussion in that regard is there.
No. To my mind, yes, that's not the case, because whenever monitoring committee is made, at that time it is specifically either consent of the RP is taken or some new person has to be appointed. It doesn't happen just like that. But yes, the question is very valid. And after that, if RP is not seeing something happening and if he wants to resign, whether he can resign, that should be there. The way it's happening in CIRP, if at all.
Yes, ma'am, you want to say something? Yes, please.
The same thing happened. See, I am an RP in case of personal guarantee corporate debtor, where I was asked to submit every month a report, and we'll have to file it as IA. There are no advocates for me because they did not appoint advocate. So it is me who is doing that. And at times it can be, you can say it is for good, because bankers, they don't reply at all for our any emails and things like that. Maybe such things we can record in that monthly report, so that NCLT will come to know, okay, these things are happening. Or at least we can tell bankers that, say, if you are not going to respond to my mails or whatever I say, then in such case, I will have to submit a report wherein I'll have to inform these things. So it can be both the ways. For RP, it is good, as well as at times it is really difficult for us to submit report every month talking about things. And if nothing moves, it's very difficult for us to go in front of AEA and answer.
Yes, timely implementation of the plan is the very crux of the entire thing which is happening. If the implementation is not happening within the given timeline, which is provided specifically in the resolution plan, as is also approved by the NCLT, then of course it becomes the responsibility of the SRA as well as the COC as well as the RP as well to see if at all the plan is going or the implementation is going in terms of the plan or not. So to abide by that, there has to be one watchdog who should see that everything is going in line with what is provided in the plan. But again, simultaneous concern is that also that if we have to move to NCLT, because NCLT does not have that much of time to entertain each and every application. So for all small little matters, if we have to move to NCLT, so I believe that implementation will also get delayed. Instead of getting done in time, I believe that implementation will also get delayed for this application, because you have to then wait for the decision taken by the NCLT for doing everything. If at all there is any single deferment or any kind of, very minuscule deferment from what is provided in the resolution plan. So instead of deciding upon themselves, if we have to go to adjudicating authority, it will unnecessarily burden the NCLT more and will delay the process more.
But simultaneously, no one has power also, technically speaking. If not NCLT, who will decide?
That is again a question that if not NCLT, then who will decide? So if the monitoring committee, the constitution of monitoring committee, I think the whole idea of constitution of monitoring committee is that only to monitor the implementation of the plan. So I think that it is like the resolution plan should provide as to what is there, what will be there in the, who all will be there in the monitoring committee, and ultimately it will be the decision of monitoring committee, or the monitoring committee has to see if at all everything is going in terms of the plan or not. And if something is not happening in terms of the plan, then of course, or some major thing which is not happening in terms of the plan, then of course they can go to adjudicating authority. So I think some exclusion should be provided as to what all decision can be taken by the monitoring committee, and for what all matters the monitoring committee has to file the application to the adjudicating authority. I think this kind of leeway should be provided along with what is provided currently in the proposal. This leeway should also be given to the monitoring committee. Some power should also be given to the monitoring committee to decide as to what extent the deferment can be allowed by monitoring committee only, without filing any application or going to the NCLT for every now and then. Is there any other thought on this? So in CIRB, basically, that is the only proposal which is provided. So let us move ahead with the proposal provided in liquidation regulation. Archana, if you can please.
Ma'am, you need to unmute.
I'm sorry, sir. Can you please just repeat again?
No, you need to unmute. In fact, you are on mute right now.
Yes, sir. Yes. I'm just sharing my screen, so just allow me a second. Yes. Go directly to the proposal. So first proposal is on regulation 45 of the resolution of the liquidation regulation, which is about final report prior to dissolution. So this now one thing which is I think just clarificatory, particularly because it now also includes the closure of process whenever an application for scheme or scheme of compromise or arrangement is filed. So basically what happened is earlier there were only two process or this particular provision provides for completion of the process or dissolution of the process. Like if say suppose the corporate debtor is getting the process of the liquidation is getting concluded by way of going concern sale, in that case completion application was required to be filed, or otherwise when the corporate debtor is getting sold by way of slump sale or any other method, in that case dissolution application was required to be filed. However, given that regulation 2A is also there which provides for compromise arrangement, so if at all there is any kind of completion of liquidation process by way of compromise arrangement, in that case that particular part should also be there and final report should also be filed at that time as well. So this is merely a clarificatory change because this includes this compromise or arrangement part as well. It says that closure of liquidation process whenever an application for scheme of compromise or arrangement has been approved under section 230 of Companies Act 2013. So this part is getting included in the provision of sub-regulation 3. So this is a minor change. Second change is with respect to regulation 46(8), which says that the board may utilize the interest income on the deposit made into the corporate liquidation account to create awareness among the stakeholders about the unclaimed proceeds and the process of claiming them. So it now says that whatever amount will remain as unclaimed proceeds or whatever amount will remain in the corporate liquidation account, that interest on that particular amount can be utilized by the IBBI for the purpose of this awareness program on unclaimed proceeds and how to utilize this thing. But what will be the awareness program, how this proceeds will be utilized, what quantum this proceeds will be utilized, etc. Nothing is provided in the proposal as such, and I'm not very clear as to why at all this awareness program or the burden is given to IBBI. Rather, I believe that this could have also been done by the liquidator by posting the same on the website or taking necessary steps whatsoever is required to make the respective stakeholders who pertain to a corporate debtor, to make them aware as to if at all there is any requirement of unclaimed proceeds or there is any process of claiming them. So what exactly they are required to do. So that could have been done by respective liquidator as well. But I would like to invite thoughts of the respective participants as to what they think about this interest component to be utilized by the IBBI in corporate liquidation account. If any members have any thought on this particular part. Or if the participants are okay with this change, then we can move ahead with the next proposal, which is about exclusion, which is about including in schedule 1, which particularly provides for what should be there in the sale proposal or the sale format or the auction format, basically what all should be there, what should not be there. So these changes are provided. So we are moving ahead to the next change, which is in schedule 1, para 1, basically. So earlier in para 1, it was provided that due diligence of the eligible members have to be done in advance before participating in the auction. However, now it says that the due diligence will be done by the liquidator after participation and after declaration of the person as H1 bidder. So now it says that once the person is giving declaration of is eligibility under section 29A, then the person will be eligible to participate in the auction. Once the person is participated in the auction, after that, within 3 days, the liquidator will do due diligence. And if at all the declaration given by the person will come out as wrong, in that case, the liquidator will have liberty to forfeit the entire EMD amount, earnest money deposit amount. So this particular provision, I think, was required earlier as well, so as to invite serious participants of the H1 bidder. But the thing is that the clarification with respect to the EMD amount as to what should be the EMD amount, to what extent this EMD can be forfeited, etc. So these clarifications are not provided till now in the provision. It is not there in the provision as of now. So this clarification is of course required. Then the second change is with respect to the auction notice. It says that the auction notice will mandatorily state that the prospective bidder shall confirm the eligibility of 29A. So this will be mentioned in auction notice itself. And then this 3 days required, I've already mentioned that within 3 days, the liquidator has to conduct the due diligence, and the H1 bidder, if at all that H1 bidder comes out as wrong or wrong declaration has been given, in that case, the liberty has been given to the liquidator to forfeit the amount. So there are, I think, several other things as well which requires attention or which should be there. First is, of course, regarding this forfeiture of amount as to what extent the amount can be forfeited, this EMD forfeiture part. Then should the liquidator have the authority to independently decide on the terms of sale, or should the explicit provision should be included so as to avoid any potential dispute regarding the sale process? So this clarification should also be, in my view, is also required. However, I would like to invite comments from the participants as to what they think about this particular provision, or they think that any particular changes should also be included herein to ensure the smooth functioning of auction process. I would request all the participants to be interactive, because the whole idea of this roundtable is to have your views on the proposal only, as to if at all any particular changes is required. We at this point of time, we have the time to make proposal with respect to the required changes. Otherwise, whatsoever only proposed will get implemented, and we have to follow the same. So if at all you have being a, having the person the practical experience on the procedure, if you want to add on something, please discuss that so that necessary inputs and can be given to IBBI on the proposal.
Ma'am, within 3 days of the declaring the highest bidder, the liquidators shall conduct the due diligence. The 3 days are quite low, quite short time for this.
3 days.
For conducting the due diligence.
Yeah.
So this timeline should be exceeded. At least 7 days timeline should be provided to the liquidator.
Minimum 7 to 10 days. This is not practical that it would be done within 3 days.
Then again, it says that if the plan is rejected by the committee of creditors, means the consultation committee, actually the proposal also says that the consultation committee can also reject the plan, because ultimately the decision with respect to acceptance or rejection of plan has to be taken by liquidator in consultation with the consultation committee. Earlier, this consultation with the consultation committee part was not there. So now it seems that the consultation committee has been kept parallel to COC slowly. So I believe that every discussion with consultation committee may ruin the very requirement of the liquidation process. However, if at all the consultation committee is required to be consulted with respect to the rejection of the plan, then I believe that at that point of time, the reason of rejection by the committee should also be given as to on what reason committee is rejecting the plan. So that reason of rejection by the committee should also be incorporated in the proposal.
Definitely. Rejection must be in black and white and quite clear.
Ma'am, then 12, if the bidder is found ineligible, so will they be given any chance before declaring ineligible for resubmission or correction of the proving the eligibility, or just we can declare them ineligible?
Ma'am, you're not very clear. Can you please just repeat again as to what your proposal is or what you are?
12E, the 12E, if a bidder is found ineligible,
Right.
the earnest money deposited by him shall be forfeited.
Right.
So this will actually demotivate bidders, because actions and getting the assets and all sold itself is good. It's a difficult task, and if they are forfeiting, so if before declaring them ineligible, will they be given any chance to correct their documents, or?
Because ma'am, first they have the liquidator is now required to move ahead with the declaration given by the person. So the person is giving the declaration that the person is eligible, and then the person is participating in the auction. And after auction procedure, the person is required to pay in terms of the amount that he has quoted for. And now if say suppose he is taking his steps back or ultimately is coming out as ineligible, then the entire timeline is getting wasted. So he's ultimately wasting the time of the liquidator as well as the entire process. So there should be some compensation so as to invite some serious bidder to participate and not to take this declaration randomly. So there should be some serious participation. That person, while giving the declaration, should be very, very cautious that if I'm giving a particular declaration that I am eligible, so I should be cautious while giving that particular declaration. So he should bear this in mind that if I'm giving a wrong declaration, that the entire EMD, the earnest money deposit that I'm giving, that will be forfeited by the person. Because we have seen that there were several cases before adjudicating authority with respect to forfeiture of EMD as well. Like the person has participated in the process. Next, the person at the time of making payment, the person has taken step back, not proceeded with the payment. And when the money was forfeited by the liquidator, the SRA has filed application with the adjudicating authority to that the money should not have been forfeited by the liquidator. So this leeway is not provided since the provision is not clear in this particular part of forfeiture. Therefore, several adjudicating authorities have given order in favor of the SRA. However, I believe that for inviting serious participants, the forfeiture of EMD part should also be there. Okay. Yes, I believe Mr. Nilesh Gupta wants to say something. Yes, sir, you may unmute yourself and please communicate. Yes, sir.
No, I was just about to put my attendance only.
Okay. So there are two changes only in this liquidation regulation. First is regarding this particular para of interest income by or in having interest income from the amount which will be deposited in the corporate liquidation account, and second is with respect to the auction process. As to certain changes has been done with respect to auction process, the timeline has been reduced and the burden is now been given to the SRA as well, that before participating the person should be cautious and cautiously give the declaration that the person is eligible, and accordingly the person should move ahead with the auction process, and once participated, once declared as H1 bidder, then due diligence process will be conducted, and based on that the process will be concluded. If at the end the person, if the liquidator finds that the person is not given correct eligible requirement or not given the correct declaration with respect to eligibility, in that case the leeway has been given to the liquidator to forfeit the EMD amount. Certain clarification again is required as to what should be the EMD amount, whether the forfeiture, what will be the forfeiture limit, as to what limit the amount forfeited the amount of EMD can be forfeited by the liquidator, whether the liquidator can decide on the terms and condition of sale in line with the regulations only, whether the liquidator can decide certain terms and conditions so as to invite active participants and as well as the serious participants from the with respect to the sale assets. So these few clarification, I believe, are also required along with what has been proposed at this point of time. So if anyone has any comments, may please say, or we can move ahead to the next discussion paper. Okay, so let us move ahead with the next discussion paper. Next, we are starting with this voluntary liquidation proposal. So there is one proposal in line with what is proposed in liquidation regulation, that was with respect to the corporate voluntary liquidation account, that if at all there is any amount in corporate voluntary liquidation account, then interest thereon may be utilized by the IBBI for the purpose of creating the awareness. So this particular proposal is also incorporated in voluntary liquidation provision. And simultaneously, there are few other changes as well. One is with respect to uncalled capital. So this particular part was there somehow in regulation 33, that liquidator shall realize the amount due from any contributory to the corporate person with risk to the corporate person, and the third was with respect to the uncalled capital. But given that the very requirement of voluntary liquidation is the solvency of the company, that the company should be solvent, so these two provision, regulation 33(1) and 33(3), does not have any weightage, and that is why it is proposed to delete these provisions. That in case of voluntary liquidation, there should not be any concern of any uncalled or unpaid capital, and that is why it is proposed to remove these parts. So it's not a major change which has been proposed. And second, as I said, is with respect to the corporate voluntary liquidation account, which is in similar line with what we have just discussed. So these are the two changes. There are no major changes in the voluntary liquidation apart from this. Next, if at all anyone has anything to add on what should be added further in the voluntary liquidation, may please say so. So accordingly, we'll propose that to IBBI, and otherwise we'll move ahead with the next proposal.
Ma'am, regarding a voluntary liquidation process, there is regulation 34 which says that liquidator will open a bank account in the name of the company, followed with the words in voluntary liquidation. So I think opening of bank account, most of the banks, they are not interested in opening the bank account which is going to be closed within a period of 1 or 2 months. So there should be a provision in section 30 in regulation 34 that the existing account be converted into involuntary liquidation account, and the liquidator be made part of be authorized to operate that bank account, so that the existing account should be closed as and when the payments are over.
There are several other concerns as well in this regard only, sir, because say suppose if there is any income tax refund, for the purpose of that income tax refund, again the particular account of the corporate debt to corporate person herein has to be maintained. So in any case, that account has to be maintained. So it's better to just change the existing name of the existing account rather than
Yes.
opening a new account. So
Instead of opening the new bank account.
Yes. So this particular provision, I think, should be inserted. I also agree with this part. I'm incorporating that, sir, in the proposal.
Please. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
See, in my case, to convert a CRP account into liquidation itself, there was some issue. No bank is interested, and they would have said as scheduled bank. They are not interested in opening an account, not only a fresh account. I wanted to convert a CRP account. I wanted to continue with that, saying, please add my name and saying that it is under liquidation. But still, I had to fight for 3 months. They literally want an order for that. So these
I
are
believe, ma'am, if the provision itself will contain this particular part that the liquidator can convert the existing bank account of the company
maybe
in a liquidation account, I think that will be helpful. Yes.
But instead of opening a new account, which is already there, so I'll have to close that and open. So I wanted that to continue. But for that itself, no, it was literally impossible for me for 3 months. So I had no other go. But the thing is, in that particular account, the creditor has not paid money. So it was not a big issue for me. I had to wait. I'll have to go to NCLT, ask for the fees, and then I'll have to open and close. So
I'm
even to get my
incorporating this
approvals-
particular part to be that is required in regulation 34. I'm putting that part as well.
Madam, one more doubt I am having.
Yes, sir.
If the CRP account is not in the nationalized bank, what should I can do, madam? Because the liquidation account is to be opened in the nationalized bank, but CRP account is in the not nationalized bank. What I have to do in this case, madam?
In that case, so sir, you are required to open a new account and then transfer the money which is there in the otherwise existing account of the company into the new account of the company of the liquidation.
So I need not convert that CRP account to this liquidation account because it is
No,
not a
not to convert the account, sir. What I'm saying is to open a new account and then transfer the amount which is available in the existing account to the new account.
But just other people, just my other persons also told this is very difficult to open the liquidation account in the bank, madam, nationalized bank. That's why this is a CRP account is in the SDFC bank actually. That I wanted to convert into the liquidation account. So it is it not possible, no, madam?
No, sir. No, it is not. Currently, it is not provided, but I believe that certain banks do provide this facility. So either
Okay.
you may discuss with the other bank or the RM of the bank with this regard, because there are several cases till now, some 8,000 cases till now, which has happened for CIRP. So for 8,000 cases, of course, several banks have provided this facility to convert the account. So I believe that you may have word with bank with respect to this, and accordingly, I think bank will help you out in this, sir.
Madam, one more doubt. I think it is not according to this discussion. Shall I raise this question, madam? It's a doubt only. This I am in the liquid. I am liquidator of this company. This 100% sole financial guarantor is there. So he wants to realize the security interest and he wants to go out of the IBC code and he wants to realize the security interest. Now, can I conduct SSC meetings, stakeholder committee meetings without him?
It's a voluntary liquidation process or liquidation process, sir?
Liquidation process, madam. It is a liquidation process.
Liquidation process.
Madam. This only one sole financial guarantor is there. He is having 100% voting rights. Of course, one OC is also there. He is having more than 10% of the total right. He is also a member, but he is not having any voting rights. So in this scenario, can I conduct stakeholder consultation meetings without
Yes,
the
only one creditor, with only one creditor, you have to form the SSC. So
Yes, madam.
if there is financial creditor, law provides you to have the committee with financial creditors only. It says that when there is no financial creditor, in that case only you can have operational creditors as the members of the COC. So if you have only one creditor, in that case SSC will be formed with one creditor only, sir.
This OC is also there, madam, because he is having 10% of the total debt. He is also a member with 0 voting rights. But this he is opting out of the IBC code. So he will not be a member of the SCC, FC member. So in such scenario with the OC, can I conduct stakeholder committee meetings?
So SCC's meeting, so anyway, you have this leeway to have the SCC's meeting. There is no a particular, restriction in having SCC's meeting. There is no restriction provided in the law as of now to, not to have the SCC meeting. Whenever there is any kind of consultations required from the SCC, of course, you can have a meeting and discuss with the SCC, sir.
But as per 52 section, this FC has to go out of SCC code, stakeholder committee meeting. I will not be a part of the stakeholder committee consultation meeting. In such scenario, what I have to do, madam?
I'm not getting the concern clearly, sir. What exactly is the concern?
Section 52 of the IBC code. If the security creditor wants to realize the security interest out of
realize
IBC.
the security interest, yes. So he will be out of this pool, basically. So for any proceeds which will be balanced or which will remain, for that he has to stand in queue as per section 53.
So I have to conduct SCC meetings with him.
So he has not realized the amount. He has not realized the security interest as of now.
It is in the process of realization. It is in the process of realization.
So if he has not realized the security interest as of now, then he is a part of SCC. And if at all he intends to realize the security interest, then he will not be a part of SCC. Then he will be out of this pool, common pool. In that case, I believe that you have to take clarification from the adjudicating authority that there is only one financial creditor, and that financial creditor intends to realize the security interest. In fact, the timeline, I believe, is also gone. Timeline was also 30 days to realize the security interest or communicate the interest with respect to relation of security interest. That timeline is also gone. So now how can he come and say that he want to realize the security interest?
He has communicated, madam. He has communicated before
within 30 days timeline which was given.
Yes, within 30 days he has communicated his gesture to realize the security interest.
then SEC cannot be formed. He cannot be a part of SEC in that case if he is realizing the security interest.
No, madam. In the first SEC meeting, I have to conduct within 7 days of LCD, madam. So
Yes.
in that meeting,
So in
yes,
that case, the COC members were the SSC members at that point of time, as per the current law.
with those members only, I have conducted the SEC meeting, madam.
Hmm.
So
And
this
now
is-
that he is realizing the security interest, then the constitution of SSC will change, and of course, we have to have the necessary clarification from the adjudicating authority in this regard that there is only one creditor, and that creditor at the liquidation stage has realized the security interest. So I'm left with the other creditors only. So now the SSC will be formed in this manner with the remaining creditors.
Okay, madam. Okay. Thank you.
Is
Thank
there any
you,
particular anything other to add on in the proposal which has been given by IBBI? Anybody else? Or should we proceed ahead with the other proposals?
Please proceed. Proceed further.
So next we are coming to this inspection and investigation regulation. There is only one clarificatory change. So earlier the definition of disciplinary committee was provided therein. The definition says that earlier the definition used to say that disciplinary committee means a committee of whole-time members constituted by board under sub-regulation 1 of section 220 of the code, provided that the whole-time members in the disciplinary committee shall not be associated with the investigation or inspection. So what does this associated with means? This was not provided. Now there is an explanation added. It says that the word associated shall mean involvement in the conduct of investigation or inspection or consideration of the investigation or inspection report or issuance of the show cause notice. So you should not be involved in this process. That will be treated as association. Means the lawmaker should not be a lawbreaker should not be a lawmaker. That is what the clarification now provides. So it's a clarificatory change. Now coming to the next change, which is with respect to grievance and compliance handling procedure regulation. So earlier it was provided in regulation 3, sub-regulation 4, that a grievance or complaint, as the case may be, shall be filed within 45 days from the occurrence of the cause of action for grievance or complaint, provided that a grievance or complaint may be filed after the aforesaid period if there are sufficient reasons justifying the delay, but such period shall not exceed 30 days. So 45 days plus 30 days timeline was given for the purpose of filing of this grievance or complaint. Now this timeline has been exceeded. Now it says that if there are sufficient reasons justifying the delay, but such period shall not exceed 30 days from the date of closure of the process under the code by order of adjudicating authority. So till the time the process is getting completed, after that 30 days time will be given for the purpose of any kind of grievance or any kind of complaint to be filed by anybody against the RP, IP, etc. So this timeline has been exceeded now. And the final change is with respect to model bylaws and governing board of insolvency professional agencies. It is again a small change. It says that the requirement of AFA, authorization for assignment, for this earlier, the requirement was to apply for 45 days before the date of expiry of the authorization. Now it says that one has to apply 90 days in advance. So this advance filing for the purpose of AFA is now the timeline is exceeded. It says that you have to inform for 90 days in advance. So this is the only change. I think these three changes that we have discussed towards the end are merely clarificatory, and there are certain timeline extensions, so no major changes herein. The major changes were with respect to the CIRP and liquidation, which we have discussed and have taken the inputs given by the members therein as well. If anyone has anything further to contribute, may please say so. So accordingly, I'll add that part as well, and then we can conclude with today's discussion.
Just a question on this AFA. So 90 days is the maximum, right? You can apply even 30 days in advance or 45 days?
Yes, sir. So now it says that AFA is to be applied not earlier than 90 days.
Not earlier than, okay, great.
Yes. So with this, I would like to wrap up today's discussion. Thank you all for the participation, for the interaction. And we can conclude today's discussion now. I'll incorporate the inputs given by the members and will send the same to IBBI for their consideration. Thank you so much.
Many thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, madam.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, sir. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Ms. Barsha Dikshit, for sharing your valuable insight and your guidance is to appreciate.
क्या हुआ?